Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Appreciate it very much. I want to accomplish two things briefly this afternoon. Number one, I want to begin by thanking Mayor Bach and his Chief of Staff, Steve Cox, for working with me to set up a transition schedule. As you know, this is a very accelerated transition. Election takes place yesterday, 2 weeks until the swearing in on the 2nd of June, so things have to move very quickly. I met with the mayor and Mr. Cox for a little over an hour this morning, and we went over some major issues and set up a transition schedule. So I will be meeting with the senior executives of all the departments in the city over the next week and learning from them about issues in their various departments. And there'll be a series of meetings also with Mr. Cox and if the mayor if necessary. So I want to begin by thanking the mayor and the chief of staff for their cooperation in setting up a transition schedule. Secondly, I am pleased and a little bit excited, frankly, to introduce my choice for new chief of staff for the city of Colorado Springs, and that's Mr. Jeff Greene. As many of you know, most of you know Jeff, he has been the county administrator for the last 9 years. He's been in the county administrator's office for 15 years, worked with Terry Harris before he took the reins of that position 9 years ago. In that position, he serves as the Chief Administrative Officer of El Paso County. And folks, when I was thinking about a Chief of Staff, here's what I was looking for. I was looking for a person who had knowledge of governmental organizations, somebody who knew about planning, budgeting, governmental budgeting, obviously some law enforcement, roads, bridges, the whole bit. Somebody who was very, very familiar with government administration. But I also wanted somebody who would bring a fresh eye to the administration of the city of Colorado Springs. And in my opinion, Jeff Greene really fits the bill. He's done an outstanding job as a county administrator and knows the various functions of the governments. In many ways they're the same, in some ways they're different. Jeff had 5 bosses, has 5 bosses, he'll soon have 1 boss. That may be the best part of it, but then again, if you don't like your one boss, it's not the best part of it. So, yeah, as I say, there's some differences, but there's a lot of similarities. Jeff is a graduate of the University of Tennessee. He, I think, came here in the Army. Did you not, Jeff? Came here in the United States Army, served in the Army Reserves after his active duty stint. As you know, Jeff is very active in the community, and that's also something that I thought. I wanted someone who was well connected to the community, heavily involved in various organizations. And I think it says a lot about Jeff that he's been singled out for some awards as a result of his work. In 2009, he won the American County Leader of the Year Award, and in 2011, the Greater Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce, now known as the Colorado Springs Business Alliance, right, Dirk, named him the Public Official of the Year here in Colorado Springs. So I am absolutely delighted to have Jeff on board and ask him to make a few comments.
First of all, I want to say that there is no greater person to be the next mayor of Colorado Springs than Mr. John Suthers. I've had a lot of respect for John. I've known John for a long time, and John served the county very well in his role as the district attorney. He served the state very well as the attorney general. This is very exciting, but it's also very bittersweet. Been at the county for a long time. There's great people. at the county. I really have enjoyed working for the Board of County Commissioners, but I'm very excited in my new role in working with the Mayor of Colorado Springs. And also in this new position, I'll be able to help bridge the differences between city and county government. And there's ways that we can really move forward to make a difference. Mr. Suthers campaigned about regionalism, working together, collaboration, and I believe in my new role, I'll be able to help Mr. Suthers very well and also help bridge the differences between the two organizations and so that we can have an outstanding community. So, John, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm really glad to have you. Any questions that we can answer?
What salary will he be paid?
It will be close to, if not equal to, Mr. Cox's salary.
Who will take your place, and what kind of mechanism will be used to replace you at the county?
The Board of County Commissioners will call for a special executive session on Tuesday. They will go through a deliberation process. No decisions will be reached at that point in time, but they will provide direction on the appointment of an interim county administrator, and also the commissioners will go through a recruitment process to select the county administrator.
When will you take this position?
There'll be discussions between the mayor-elect and the chair of the Board of County Commissioners to determine the transition schedule.
And you know, I'll work very closely with the chairman of the board to make sure that Jeff's available for some transition issues there. I'm hoping he can come on with the city very close to June 2nd, but I understand that there'll be some transition issues that need his attention.
John, who were some of the other people you were considering, and what kind of put Jeff over the top?
I'm unwilling to talk about other people that were under consideration. I hope you understand that. But a lot of people came forward to me, expressed their interest. Several people were referred to me, and I kind of went through a vetting process. I talked to members of the community, I asked them what they thought of various people, without, in some cases, indicating what job I was talking about. But it became very clear to me that when I was looking at the things I needed, someone with that governmental management background and somebody that understood regional issues and someone who would bring a fresh eye to Colorado Springs government, Jeff was the guy that stood out.
Mayor-elect Suthers, if you walk back in front of the microphone so we can be able to hear you better, with Jeff Greene, stay with you. Question that we would have for you is, obviously this is a huge announcement, so what does that mean? What message would you have for other city staffers as you're watching your new chief of staff take office about their jobs? Because a new administration, potentially shuffling of jobs in the city administration building.
Well, first of all, I come to the presumption that people working for the city are doing a good job. And frankly, I've gotten some outstanding reviews from community members about a lot of the senior managers in the city. But what's going to take place over the next couple of weeks is something that should take place in any transition process, where you meet with those folks. They describe their responsibilities, talk about their departments, what the issues are. Jeff's going to be a part of those meetings as well, as many as he can make. And I'll do an assessment. Folks, this is the, I transitioned from the outside into the district attorney's office. I transitioned from the outside into the United States Attorney's Office, into the Department of Corrections. So this is not something new to me. And I take my time. I don't like what I call the new sheriff in town syndrome, which, you got to establish yourself by having some heads roll or something like that. That's not my management style at all. I'm going to immerse myself, and Jeff's going to immerse himself in city government for the next 90 to 120 days. See if we get consistent feedback about things that could be improved, things that are working well, and then we'll make some further decisions. Other questions?
infrastructure is a really big topic. How do you plan to address some of those issues, and especially, with summer coming around? That's an opportune time to get the road crews out there to fix some of these roads.
Oh, I guarantee you, the road crews will be out there doing pothole fixing 24/7 here over as the weather clears, and that's a great opportunity. But the bigger issue is, what are we going to do long term about infrastructure? And Council President Bennett and I appeared on the Gazette, what do you call it?
Gazette.com.
Gazette.com, okay. We, this morning, and talked about the fact that one of the things that needs to take place very quickly is discussions between the mayor's office and the council, and start getting public input as quickly as possible. What's going to be the longer-term solution to this? What's the nature and extent of the problem? What's the gap between what we could expect future expected revenues for Colorado Springs to be applied to that problem? What's the gap? What are our alternatives? Are you borrowing it? Are you doing a dedicated incremental sales tax, whatever, to deal with roads, stormwater? And those are discussions that are going to take place very quickly. We're setting up a one-day meeting between the mayor's office and the council early in June, and those are the kinds of things we're going to talk about.
John, you mentioned a kind of aggressive transition schedule with Mayor Bach. What does that entail?
Primarily meetings, okay? I had a meeting today, went over the organizational chart of the city, he identified 50 issues that he felt were important that needed to be addressed. We set up a meeting between Mr. Cox, Mr. Greene, and myself tomorrow, and then Friday we begin the meetings with all the city managers, and that will take place Friday and most of next week.
Could you give us your thoughts on the announcement that just came out about an hour and a half ago, where the mayor wants to spend $5 million out of reserves to do patches for the flooding damage that was occurred, that there's no pothole repair on that list at all. So could you give us your feedback on what you think of that?
That was not a topic that I talked to the mayor about, but the mayor has to deal with issues that have occurred as a result of the most recent storms, and I'm sure he's going to do it to the best of his capability in consultation with the public work folks. So I'm not in a position to comment one way or the other about that.
John, you mentioned the discussions that you'll have with the council. It's easy to say that you're going to talk to them, but how will those conversations go, and how do you actually get something done out of those?
By communicating, okay? Looking each other in the eye and saying, okay, here's our huge problem. You know, this is really the 800-pound gorilla, this infrastructure issue. I'm going to ask the public works folks to make presentations about here's, you know, the absolute highest priority projects that need to be done in the next 5 years. Roads, stormwater, here's the projected costs of those. The finance people are going to say this is what various mechanisms would raise in terms of funding, and see if we can't reach some consensus about how we ought to go forward.
I spoke with Councilmember King today, and he said that he hopes that you actually have some of those conversations even before you get into office. Or do you share that same sentiment that you really want to get it started?
I guarantee you, whenever I see them, those conversations are starting. I had a few of them last night. In between questions from you all, I had some conversations with individual council people and said, hey, these are the issues, and let's start talking about them. Anything else? Okay, thank you all for coming out on a rainy, soggy afternoon. Appreciate it very much. Thanks, Jim.